Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Dreamers Game 1, where we are playing Yomi. This is turn 71? Question mark. Let me actually check that real quick, so I'm not fucking fucked off with the wrong information. Yeah, that's right. Okay, sorry. Okay, we are on turn 71. Let's jump into it. Let's see how things go. Right, we've got Odie on camera. Look at that sleepy boy. Don't look at me. Look. Anyways, moving on. Kicking things off, we have blood level 6 researched. Sorry, I had a brain fart moment there. We successfully empowered Fellman in Earth, right? So he's gonna do a little Earth climb for us. Excited to see what happens there. We have a couple of site searches. We have an Auspex that found nothing. Dark Knowledge that found nothing. We did a Voice of Apsu. It found nothing as well. A Lichcraft, and then a second Auspex. And we did find a Mirror Lake here. So this is actually pretty nice. Okay, so a Mirror Lake is one. It's just a great gem site. Air 1, water 2, and we're very excited to have any more air. But the +2 water is actually pretty nice as well. And then the Illusionist is actually pretty cool also. They are slow to recruit, which is a little bit of a problem. And they're not exactly the cheapest on the upkeep side of things, but they are Air 2 mages, which I think Air 2, next to maybe like, you know, Astral 2 or Death 2, is one of like the most valuable 2 paths, right? It's very good. And it's something that we don't have super easy reliable access through, except for on our sorceresses, right? Our Air 2, Astral 2 sorceresses. So these are quite a bit cheaper for Air 2, depending on what we're wanting. And they also have, they're stealthy, which is nice, and they have Glamour, which is nice. But more specifically, they have this, Obfuscate, which is actually kind of interesting. It reduces the amount of the army that people can see of them. So they can actually hide armies if you have enough of them in one. So it's kind of cool. Especially you can have a couple of these and then like a couple of items like a Gossamer Silk or whatever it is to hide an army. Basically, it's pretty neat. Anyways, that is a nice site. We're happy to have that. So gem income this turn, air +1 and water +2. We got that. Pretty cool. Our air income being up to 15 is a pretty big deal for us. We're pretty excited about that. We have a couple of battles we have witnessed this turn. Helheim attacking Ubar in Pestina. So, Ubar had attacked Pestina previously, and now Helheim's basically just knocking them off the province. Has an interesting, and this is, I do think, nice. An interesting little kind of counter thug set here. Salt to deal with the Jinn, right? Or the Sultans. Anything that basically has the salt weakness. So very, very cool. And then adding on to this is kind of like a counter thug item in the eye shield, because you can blind a thug, which can be a very big deal on super expensive thugs, right? So that's pretty neat. Kind of just throwing this out there as like a, hey, if he sticks around, this guy's not gonna beat him, but this guy might blind him, which would be kind of interesting. I say this guy's not gonna beat him, but this guy's, I would say, unlikely to beat a kitted out like Ifrit or Sultan. But he does have 29 defense, so maybe that's not the case. Oof. Anyways, moving on. Ubar hit Helheim and Florian. And so, for example, we have a Shaitan over here. Ring of Returning, Lifelong Protection combo. Ubar seems fond of this combo. And then otherwise, just defensive items, right? So, pretty solid. Is that 2 of them? It is 2 of them. My bad. I did not realize that was 2 of them. I thought that was like a mirror image. But no, it's 2 lifelong protections with Rings of Returning. So that's definitely gonna fuck up this amount of PD. Well, I say that, but oh my goodness, that was a great fireball. Ay, ay, ay. And conflagration. Like, yeah. This duo could do a lot of fucking work consistently across the board. Honestly. And they're... yeah, they're stealthy, so they can do this hit, stealth tactic. I think that's pretty neat. I think Ubar is very strong in the mid to late game with these kinds of tactics. But that being said, I haven't gotten to play as Ubar really, or played enough against them to really know. Anyways, we have one battle against Hinnom, and it's just his Melkart trolling around. This is kind of all he has left. Let's see if these barbarians can actually do the number on him. They've got 24-ish damage. He's got 22 protection. He actually does not have the most protection. But he does. Every time he hits, he will kill, basically. So... yeah. Oh, we chipped him. He already had a limp. Oop. He does have regen. Yeah, that's going to be the problem. If this was like 20 or 30 barbs, like, they might actually drop him, because he doesn't have that high defense, he doesn't have that high protection, he's just got a lot of... he just hurts. Like, he hits really hard, right? And he's got a fair amount of regen, because of the larger regen. So we lose in Eel Reach Mountains, no big deal, he's just kind of raiding around. So, easy battle report this time around. 0 wins, 1 loss versus Hinnom. So we got that. Pretty okay. And then we have some events. We've got a rebirth event in the Great Mountains, and then in Moliton, a handful of magic gems have been found in the prime of the season, so we got 4 death gems. So events, death plus 4 for our gems. Very nice. Never going to be displeased by getting additional death gems. That's always good. We started to destroy the fort in Cormark. Critically damaged, but not quite there yet. And what are we doing this turn? Okay, so I talked about this a while ago. The way that the game is going right now, Helheim has been in a war with Ubar and Lanka for a very long time now. There was a period at which he had pieced, I believe, Ubar out. And now Ubar has come back in again. And it is at this point in the game where Helheim has basically kind of like asked, you know, hey, Yomi, you need to do something about this, or you need to get involved. Otherwise, Ubar and Lanka are going to beat me. Is the general consensus, right? Like, there's still stuff that Helheim can do, but it is starting to turn southward. And I have made overtures to the idea of assisting Helheim. And I do mean that, right? Like, for instance, I did not... they're trying to take down Vengeful Water, and I am not a part of that, right? I have zero interest in them taking down Vengeful Water. In point of fact, I would rather Helheim be able to keep Vengeful Water up and be able to keep Lanka and Ubar at bay, because I think if I get involved in the Ubar, Lanka, Helheim conflict, Um, I don't know that I will get trounced at this point, but I do think I am likely to not get much out of it, right? Uh, that basically means if I were to get into a big conflict with them, that basically means I'm getting into a big conflict with Ubar, and I do think Ubar can easily stand toe to toe with me or better. And then I think what would happen is I would lose part of my holdings potentially to Lanka, depending on if Lanka's able to bounce back. I think Ubar would probably try to peace out from Helheim and then focus on me. I think I would lose to Ubar, and then I think it would be either an Ubar v Lanka or an Ubar v Helheim if has not at that point turned something else on and gotten involved in some big wars. So instead, we talked about this a couple turns ago. I've ended my nap with Ermor, and I plan to. I'm declaring attacks this turn, right? So we did wait the requisite number of turns for our nap. We're not nap breaking or anything like that. I don't agree with that kind of mentality. I think it's toxic for the community. But we're not going in guns blazing. We are going in kind of tentatively. And that's because Ermor has been on high alert for a while because of Yomi's stuff, and it's also because we're wrapping up things with Hinnom. But I didn't want to wait additional turns to end the nap, and now that the nap has ended, I don't want to wait additional turns to start raiding. So we're gonna make a couple of different attacks, low-ish commitment attacks, and we're gonna see how things fare from there. So let's talk about those. Let's talk about what we are actually doing. So we're gonna try to start making Shambolic a Oni Pit. So we're moving out there for that. We need one more turn to crack Cormark. And we are doing a little bit of consolidation in Hinnom, in the actual capital, so we can try to get the unrest down there, period. Right? So we're going to move and patrol with Pus Wound, for example. And then we are attacking into Jankeep and Erd, right? One with Akisada, kitted out like so. Doing Fire Shield, Blessing, Tipper Flesh, Summon Earth Power, Iron Skin, and then Advance and Cast Spells. This is... I'm kind of hemming and hawing over what I want to do here. Akisada has enormous strength, and I think the other person... Ainu has magic resistance, Iron Will, right? So I am kind of the opinion that we're up against Ermor. I probably should be doing Iron Will instead of, I don't know, like Fire Shield or something like that. But I don't know if he's going to be patrolling with any of his mages. I think he should be, but I don't know what to expect out of this player because I haven't seen this player do much in the last 30 or 40 turns, basically. So I don't know what they're gonna do. There are a lot of mages here, but I have no idea what the intended scenario is. So we're kind of going in blind. We're going to test the field and see how it goes. So we're going to attack in Jankeep. We're going to attack in Erd, both with Dione. And then we're actually going to be not attacking into Pannonia with our two liches, but we are going to sneak there so we can try to get a little bit more information in this area. I kind of did very poorly in this particular instance of knowing that I plan to attack Ermor and not prepping by putting any sort of scouting into the situation. I do regret that. I should have. But now it is what it is. So because there is this big-ass army here and there's the chance that they backtrack or something comes from Ermor into Pannonia, we don't want to just get our two liches immediately popped. So we're just going to stealth with them for now. And then all around the border with Ermor, right, we are moving army in with Morio. We are moving in army with Hirofumi and Tejo and Hisashi, right? So we're basically threatening the border to see if there is a response from Ermor. And we're also bringing units down from Scardian Vale. So we have Rei and Tsunemori with a host coming down from those sections. Everything else is just general movement for the most part. And that is that. So not a lot of crazy stuff here. Kind of going to be feeling each other out. I'm also trying to coordinate with Relay, but we haven't had a lot of conversations. They've got this army kind of like behind the lines. And I think it's basically just... I get the feeling... One, I get the feeling that Relay is not super happy about me coming into the war, right? Because they've been fighting Ermor for a while. And I don't know if... I don't honestly... I don't think they're winning, necessarily, but I also don't think they're losing. I think they're doing the general underwater thing of poking at a land nation and not being able to keep things from that land nation, but being able to kind of attack with impunity, that type of situation. So, but I don't know that Relay is thrilled about me coming into this. We'll see how it goes, right? But I think this army is kind of like anticipated to be dead at this point. But I am going to try to not bump with it, if at all possible. We'll see how that goes. So that is movements for the turn, and that's kind of like the overview of what's happening. I am so the goal here, right, is if Helheim can survive and hold off Lanka and Ubar. Ubar is, for me, like the big threat right now. Like, Helheim has been harried for so long. With a fresh Ubar coming in against them, I do think Helheim will crack beneath this. And I think Lanka, with Ubar's support, Lanka will be able to push Helheim out of their territory. But what that's going to do is that's going to leave a weakened Helheim, or a dead Helheim, a weakened Lanka, and potentially a strong Ubar, depending on how things go. I could just attack Ubar right now. Like, we have a nap, but I could end our nap and go to war with them instead of going more to war with Ermor. But the situation there is if that happens, I honestly do think the player seems smart. They'll just peace with Helheim. Helheim and Lanka will continue fighting. And then Ubar and I will fight, and I think Ubar wins in a 1v1 in this particular instance now, right? Like, I think maybe we can prep for a time period where we win. I don't know. But I think they win now. So my alternative is to hopefully eat Ermor quickly while... I always say quickly, and I'm like, it's never quick, right? Eat Ermor quickly when I'm not even declaring... I'm declaring 2 attacks on the opening so quick, right? Yeah, I know, it's a bad idea. But the idea is to eat Ermor, consolidate our strength, and be able to then threaten multiple thrones and try to respond. At that point, what's my assumption is going to be a strong Ubar and then a semi-weak Lanka, right? And then maybe we can do like a Lanka and I try to team up against Ubar type scenario. And I don't know if Relay is going to be consequential in that, maybe just playing spoiler against, I don't know, any of us. But that's the idea. We'll see how it goes. I fully expect it to not do any of those things. So yeah. All right, let's talk about what we're doing this turn. Recruitment's very quick and easy. We are doing 1 Daioni and 1 Oni Shugo. That's just how things panned out this particular situation. We don't actually have a lot of money that we're playing with right now. We have taken the majority of Hinam's lands, but a lot of these lands are very high unrest right now. Like, we're getting very little comparative to what we should be getting out of the capital, for example. Getting very little out of Jibero. We're starting to get more out of Moreni now. We're not getting much out of Belfields, etc., etc., right? So we need time to get the unrest down in some of these locations before we can actually get some good income out of them. And as for right now, you know, a Daioni is still fucking, 450 Yeah, 490. Dear Lord Jesus, right? So every turn we produce a Dione, it's basically, yeah, you don't have much money to spend on anything else. So there's that. We got a couple of rituals this time around. A couple of them being somewhat important. So let's talk about what those are. We have one Auspex, one Voice of Apsu, one Arcane Probing, one Dark Knowledge, one Haruspex. Those are kind of the normal ones. We also have 9 Corpse Constructions, and then we have the more important things. We have 2 more important things, I think. And that is 1 Manifestation and 1 Earthblood Deepwell. So let me jot down this time real quick, and we'll talk about all of those. So, the site searches, whatever, we're doing the thing. The corpse constructions, whatever, that's a thing that we're continuing to do. Manifestation is a big deal. So Manifestation is a Conjuration 8 4 Death Gem. So we can do a lot of these in a single turn if we need to, right? And it is a remote assassination spell. So it has a range of 4 provinces, can't be cast underwater, but it summons an Ashen Angel. And you'll get to see this particular thing. If you've never seen it before, you'll get to see it on the next turn, right? But the Ashen Angel will randomly target a commander in the target province, prioritizing horror-marked units. And it will initiate a duel. Generally speaking, it has like, every time it checks, it has like a 50-50 or something like that. I would have to go look up the parameters again. It's been a while since I've read or been told the actual workings of the spell. But basically, it's not good at sniping a single commander in a province. It's good at killing a commander out of a large stack of commanders, basically, right? So the Ashen Angel is pretty strong. It has like a Bane sword, so if it hits you and it doesn't kill you, it can still really fuck you up. It's a very, very good remote assassination. Potentially one of the best remote assassinations, I think. And it does cost... or it does require level 5 death to cast, so that is somewhat difficult. But now that we are into, liches, right? Liches come in at death 4. So every lich, for example, with Tomokazu here, every time we summon a lich for 30 death gems, that lich we can throw a skull staff on, 40 death gems, and then they can be, at 40 death gems, they can just be a turret for manifestation casts. And at this point, we can do almost 5 manifestations per turn, but we don't have the infrastructure, i.e. the liches and skull staffs, in order to do this, right? If we had Well of Misery, this would be one of those things that we could do very, very easily, right? Like, we could just... for a few turns, Lich, Skull Staff, Lich, Skull Staff, Lich, Skull Staff, and then we'd have this little, like, arsenal where we could put station all of those Liches within range of a location that we're like, this place is getting fucked. Ashen Angel, Ashen Angel, Ashen Angel, Ashen Angel. And here's the thing. If the manifestation does not find a target, right, then the angel will come back to the mage and will typically kill that mage. Obviously, it's another assassination attempt. The mage can defend themselves, etc. But again, Ashen Angels are pretty strong. They're likely to potentially kill a lich, but it's a lich, right? It's immortal. It's just gonna fucking respawn. You will lose out on your skull staff, but that tends to be about all that you're losing out on. So it's a pretty stable way to harry fortifications. It's I think actually pretty solid. We're going to try to build towards that. What we're going to try to do is so this turn we're doing a manifestation, and I'm trying to be very light on what we're producing with our death gems. Next turn we'll be able to do another lich. That turn as well, or maybe the turn afterwards, we'll do another skull staff. So I'm going to try to piecemeal together a little artillery squad over the course of the next 5 to 10 turns. Because my assumption is that we're going to be able to raid Ermor down fairly well, but we're going to have a lot of trouble cracking forts, would be my assumption. So we're going to do that. And then the other big thing is Earthblood Deepwell, right? So we empowered Felman last turn. We put Earth Boots and Bloodstone on him, and now he's Blood 6. We're going to toss up an Earthblood Deepwell. It is... casting it for? I think we just put like 90 additional in. Yeah, we did 170 cast. So, you know, we've got an open slot. It's possible that Ubar will try to put that back up. And if they do, that's going to suck. But if they do, we also already have 22 Earth Gems a turn. It kind of is what it is. If they don't, and we get Earthblood Deepwell, and we're at plus 42 Earth Gems per turn, basically what we're going to do is we're going to try to go into overdrive on some of our production side of things, right? Like, so everybody gets a Armor of the Night, 20 dwarven hammers, earth boots on anything that has, etc., right? Like, we try to kick that into overdrive, or we start to try to convert those earth gems into there are certain things that are somewhat decent for summons, like I want to say Clockwork Soldiers are okay, Clockwork Horrors are okay, right? There are things like Fall Bears that are all right, etc., etc. That is a relatively big deal. We'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed. We are one turn off of Blood 7, and then we're going to go up Thaumaturgy 6. Thaumaturgy 6 is for End of Culture. So End of Culture increases the spawn rate of Oni. I've been holding off on getting it for a while because I've been holding off on using it for a while because we haven't had the fire income, right? Our fire gem are a little better now, so we do have a little bit of an income forming there. And if we are... The other thing is typically if you put End of Culture up early, people get a little stressed, so they try to focus you. Because they don't want that crazy high spawn of Onis to happen. But right now, I think everyone's kind of distracted. So it's a potential opportunity for us to go. We'll see how it goes. Oh, right, forging. Forgot about forging. So we are forging just a little bit this turn. 2 amulets of anti-magic and 2 horns of valor. So not a lot, but those have very specific reasons. So the amulets of anti-magic and the horn of valor, the horns of valor are for our ghost generals, right? So they're not the greatest leaders, and they also have they have a lot of undead leadership thanks to the Crown of Bones and their base. But they only have a +1 to squads, and because of the Crown of Bones, they're actually -1. Horn of Valor is going to counter that, right? So Horn of Valor is going to give that +1 back and allow things like our co-Onis, right, to have a little bit more morale. Not a lot more morale, but a little bit more morale. We're basically trying to help defend ourselves against things like Wailing Winds. I don't know that that's going to be enough. To point of fact, we might actually restack things with Hirofumi and Morio to have one of them carrying all of the Ko-Oni and everyone else, the other carrying all the other stuff, just so that we can like leave Ko-Oni behind when we actually attack forts potentially, but we'll see. So there's that. Yeah, we talked about going Thaumaturgy 6, but we didn't really talk about Blood 7. Blood 7 up next turn. That'll give us Curse of Blood. We have the Blood Slaves. We're basically immediately going to pop with Kurofumi. We're going to pop a Vampire out, and then we're going to pop Vampires every single turn until we can't anymore. And we're going to try to find a good place to Blood Hunt. Potentially White Forest, potentially Llama. Llama already has a patrol situation there, but it is on the border where we're about to be at war, so I might go elsewhere. I might actually go over to Ghent and start blood hunting there, since it is already has a laboratory and everything like that, so we'll see how it goes. Veil of Fortune could also be a decent option. Either way, that is on the list. So yeah, I think that's probably about it for the turn. There are a lot of things going on. I say there are a lot of things going on, but it's actually kind of a light turn. There are a lot of things in motion, and I expect the next 10 to 15 turns against Ermor to be pretty exciting. So we'll see how it goes. That's going to be it for this turn. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.